find what you love and then become obsessed with it. In order to have exponential growth is to find problems that exist and be the person to provide the solution. Hi, thank you for joining yet another episode of Get Set with Lissette. This is where we have inspiring conversations that empower you to get set. Today, and I know, guys, I say it all the time, but this one is one you don't want to miss. I am speaking with an individual that literally has had, and I am not exaggerating these numbers, over a 422% increase in his business in 1 year. So, with that, I have the pleasure of speaking today with Kris Quintana, who is the founder and owner of Precision Leverage Solutions, which is a comprehensive support partner for real estate agents covering listing management, lead management, and transaction coordination services. The company's mission is to empower real estate professionals to excel by leveraging precise management, lead management, and transaction coordination services that elevate their success. Hey, Kris.
Hey,
How are you?
well, it's another day, so I can't complain.
Amen. I can't. So, we have been talking about you and I having this sit down for a while.
We have.
So, the fact that we're finally having it, and just personally, we both have had so many different changes happen in such a short amount of time when you think about it.
Mhm.
Like, I personally don't believe in coincidences, and I feel like this is the time
Yeah,
to have the conversation.
I think so.
You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that I always do before we get started, and it's typically to get the jitters out. Now, I know you are a cool, calm, and collected kind of guy, so ain't no jitters going on over here. But I do a little bit of an icebreaker. And I thought that because of the fact that we're really going to be talking about business and we're going to be talking about what it means to grow a business, this is going to be a this or that, but business edition, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
So here we go. Are you more of a take the risk or play it safe?
My wife will tell you that I will risk it for the biscuit.
I know that's right. Okay, wifey. Good luck with that one. Are you a work late or wake up early?
It honestly depends. Like
Okay.
I'm probably more in my um older years now a morning person, but I used to be work late.
Okay. Okay. Are you more of a delegate or do it yourself?
I will delegate when I find the person that I can trust to delegate it.
That's a word right there.
Yes.
Clock it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Because you need to know that you're delegating to the right individual.
I mean, Kaylin.
Shout out to Kaylin. We'll get to you later. If you know, you know. For those that don't, she's just an amazing individual. So, all right. And then the final one, and this one, there honestly is no wrong answer. Okay. Are you more of a listen to the podcast or are you going to watch the YouTube?
I'm probably gonna watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to see?
I need to see it. I need to see what's going on because, there's some things that you just can't get visually, by listening. I want to see what's going on in the room.
Absolutely. I'm not mad at that. Okay. Well, now that the jitters are out
Hmm.
and we're ready to go, one thing that I am really big on, and I say this all the time because, again, I started this episode by explaining the fact that you had a 422%, right? Or is it
Yeah. The In the first year and a half, we had 422% growth
growth
in the business.
in the business?
Mhm.
So when you say things like that, I'm a firm believer that it almost sounds unachievable. And for like the average Joe or for an individual that is like still in that starting stages, trying to comprehend what that even means at times I feel like it feels like it's too much. It feels like, well, that's them. It can't be me kind of situation.
Mhm.
I always try my best to go back because I do think that a person's story is really important.
Yeah.
And at times we can get so caught up on the where are they at now that we don't really lean into where were they or what was it or what did they have to overcome to get to. Like the story really does make the difference in my opinion.
It does.
And it also humanizes people so that they understand that not everyone's story is the same. Not everyone's road to success or just the road of life is the same. But where you are today doesn't have to be where you are tomorrow, and it doesn't have to dictate what your life circumstances are like. So I love the opportunity to just go back. Let's talk about like the backstory. And then that way allow people to say, oh, no, Kris did recognize or did go through or did experience certain things as well.
Mhm.
So, in that same regard, where did you grow up? What was your childhood and adolescence like? Like, let's take us back to young Kris, which
It's always a story, you
yes.
know. Um, so young Chris, I was born in New York,
Mhm.
Roosevelt Hospital, shout out Manhattan.
Go ahead.
Um, my dad's side of the family's from Harlem. My mom's side of the family's from the South Bronx. Still
Okay.
have family in both.
Mhm.
Uh, I just went there. Just went to Harlem like a week ago. It is not the same Harlem that I grew. Yeah.
We'll leave it at
Yeah.
that. Yes.
So, um, my dad was in the army, and so, he got us out of the hood, like,
Yeah.
that was something that was important to him, for him and his family, like, he wanted to get us out, so, um, we lived in New Jersey, we lived in Georgia, we lived in Germany, we lived
Wow.
all over the place.
Okay.
Um, like, lower middle income,
Mhm.
nothing flashy. Um, most of the childhood, like older childhood was in Georgia. I lived, and then every summer I go back to New York
Okay.
and stay with them for like 2 months. Shout out to my aunt because,
Yeah.
she's a real one for feeding me every day.
Amen.
Cause I just full circle,
Yeah.
like her youngest daughter, my youngest cousin, um, she was my intern this summer.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but,
Oh,
like,
yes.
what goes around comes around because, like, they were feeding me and taking me here and there,
Absolutely.
all through the summer when I was growing up, and I had one summer with my little cousin. I was like, "Geez, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
I know what the black hole looks like now
Right.
because she can." Yeah.
Cutie pie.
So, but yeah, no, she's great. But yeah, so full circle, that's now I understand what they went through those summers. Growing up, we were in, Georgia, and I, um, went all the way through high school for the most part in Georgia. My parents split in 2001,
Okay.
and then, in 2004, I went to go live with my dad in Miami,
Fun.
which was a very much fun, very much dangerous. Not
Yes, for
necessarily
sure.
not necessarily in a, like, physical harm kinda way, but, like, what I could've went
Yeah,
into.
got you.
Um, and so finished out school down there, and I didn't have a plan,
Okay.
for life. I knew what I was interested in, but, like, I very much felt immature and didn't think that I could handle college. And so I was like, I gotta do something else. And my
Yeah.
dad was like, well, why don't you look at the military? So I looked at the military,
Okay.
examined all five services, and, I was like, I think the Coast Guard's what I want to do. Like, very much nautical. And I also wanted to be closer to home. And,
Okay.
um, so the Coast Guard did that for 4 years, did counter narcotics in the Caribbean,
Wow.
did, um, alien immigration, interdiction, homeland security,
Oh,
Katrina.
yeah.
We helped out. Like, when I first got in, it was in 2005, and when I graduated boot camp and then got to my unit, like, Katrina had happened
Oh,
that
wow. That
August.
August.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we helped out with that for a little bit. Then I
Okay.
did fisheries, interdiction, and search and rescue, things like that. So, it was fun. Got hurt, um, and then left the Coast Guard.
Okay.
And when I left the Coast Guard, I was in Delaware, and so I had a decision. I could either stay on my own,
Right.
or, potentially go back and live with my dad. Um, and I didn't want to go live with my parents, so,
Fair. Yeah, because this is years after school now, because you've already done several years in the Coast Guard.
yeah, so I at
You're
this time about
late.
2022.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not going back.
Okay.
So I just, toughed it out. When I got out of the Coast Guard, I didn't really have a plan. I had some money, but I didn't have like any structure. And I had just switched my GI Bill from the Montgomery GI Bill to the post 9/11 GI Bill, and it wasn't going into effect until September of that year.
Real quick,
Go ahead.
for those that don't know, what is a GI Bill?
Oh, so GI
Yeah,
Bill.
just in case for those that
So
are listening or watching and they're like, "Okay, what is that?"
so the GI Bill is a program for military and
Yeah.
veterans who meet eligibility requirements, which I think is a minimum of 90 days in service.
Yep.
Um, that they essentially pay for school,
Yep.
college for you, or
Exactly.
trade,
Mhm.
some kind of educational course or a program for you to enrich
Pursue
yourself.
something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Um, so the GI Bill that I was going to use was the post 9/11 GI Bill, but it wasn't in effect until that September. So I would have had to use it for the fall semester.
Got it.
And I got out of the Coast Guard in April.
Okay. So
So
you
there
had
was
a few
some,
months in
yeah.
between. Okay.
And let me tell you,
Those months.
I don't want to say that was the most rock bottom I've been, but it was very close.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when I got out, I didn't necessarily have anything lined up. I didn't have housing. I didn't have like a vehicle. I didn't have like anything.
Right.
And at the time, the girl that I was dating, um, she she had lost both of her grandparents
Mhm.
at the time, and she was like, "Well, you can stay at my grandparents' house." Well, like her family didn't pay the utility bills,
Oh, wow.
so there was no electricity. There was
Right.
no running water.
So you have a shelter basically,
Shelter.
but literally nothing running of any sort. No
Yes,
necessary like utilities.
exactly.
Got you. Okay.
So, and because I needed like I had money, but I needed some income coming in,
Right.
I became a bouncer at a local bar, a
Okay.
restaurant. That was probably a horrible move for me at the time because I still, because of, things in my childhood and on top of that with the stuff that happened in the military, like I wasn't diagnosed or treated for any of, my behavioral health stuff. So,
Right. So
you
you
know,
were like dealing with some triggers, dealing with some things that are happening in the nightlife that are
yep.
just like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
technically messing with you, but you're trying to like push through because you're like, I need an income right now, but it's not necessarily the most healthy.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding what you're saying, it wasn't a healthy
It
situation.
was it was beyond an unhealthy
Okay.
situation. So I I struggled with that
Yeah.
for like I would say like 4 or 5 months, living in those conditions, getting 5 gallon buckets to like take a shower, wash myself, what is it? The toilet, like
Hmm.
go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and then when I finally got my GI Bill and I started going to college, the way the post 9/11 works is that you get money to go to school, you get money for books, and then they give you a monthly stipend to live off of.
Okay.
So then I had actually more money coming in from the GI Bill than I did from my bouncer job on the
Fair.
weekends. So
Okay. So that was able to then kind of like, so luckily, while it's not ideal because it's still April to September is still a good amount of time and a
mhm.
lot can happen in months. And I think that's just a testament of like, you really can change your life, good or bad, in very short amount of time. Like
Yeah.
a lot can happen in months.
Had I not tried to create a plan for myself, even though like I was having to think far out,
Yeah.
months in advance. Like I had a plan to go to school and to better myself.
Right.
The issue is that when I got out, like I didn't have any support.
Correct.
Um,
As
not
many people know.
necessarily, not necessarily. I didn't have any support. I chose not to take that support because
Fair.
I could have went and lived with my dad, and like I could have
Right.
did that life, but I chose not to.
Right.
Um, but you can see how like veteran homelessness can start.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like it's an easy transition from this situation when you were active and you're doing all these things and all these things are happening to then once it's you're done or something happens that causes that end, you can understand and relate to people that like if there's not the support necessary or not the appropriate like healthy supports that individuals need or resources to like really lean in on, things can change dramatically for people's lives. And I I love that you're saying that because I think there are a lot of veterans, a lot of people who have family that are veterans that either can relate to what you're saying or maybe now have a little better understanding of like what the realities of that mean.
Um, so I was once I graduated, I was certified middle school through high school in Maryland, and then when I left Maryland, came to Pennsylvania, got my license switched. Did the teaching thing for 9 years,
I love that for
and
you. I see a pattern.
super passionate
Okay.
about teaching education, working with kids,
Yeah.
trying to get them on the right path. The only issue is that it's just not the greatest paying job in the world. Uh,
Ridiculous to be.
Unfortunately, it's not because teachers have a direct impact on everyone else's job.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Listen,
Like
the
that.
teachers have a direct impact on everybody else's job,
Absolutely.
even their own job, because at some point they're going to retire and they're going to need to teach the next generation.
Absolutely.
But you don't get doctors, nurses, lawyers, construction workers, or any of the other trades
Yeah.
without going through school first.
Amen. That's exactly it. They literally touch on any other individual. And yet again, just like we said with the veterans, that's another profession, another industry that unfortunately, historically, has not necessarily been the like highest paid or even most respected. And yet it's needed. It's a like necessity. And what teachers do, especially good teachers, like I feel like we all have those teachers that like we remember and they're life changing at different ages, different age groups. Like I know I have at least 4 off the top of my head that were pivotal in my like growth that I can think of from like literally kindergarten all the way through like post secondary.
I'm with you, Mr.
Right.
Taggart, fourth
You
grade.
know?
He his wife was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin,
Oh, that's so
so
cool.
we watched him. Um, Dr. Jenny was
Yes.
my college professor who helped me get to where I needed to be.
Mm,
I have plenty of teachers that I remember, and I can.
absolutely.
Miss Morgan,
Yes.
she was my algebra math teacher in high school, and I don't think that I would have passed algebra without her. But it wasn't just her; it was how she treated you, because we used to do after school tutoring, and she used to bake us cookies and bring soda
Oh, wow.
into the classroom. And then if I didn't have a ride home, she'd take me.
She would take you home.
Oh,
Those are the things that matter. And now, if I'm understanding correctly, you did some teaching. So there's going to be some kids out there that say, Mr. Quintana.
no,
Okay.
I don't think they've ever used that. They all know me by Q,
Oh,
or
Mr. Q.
Mr.
Okay.
Q, Coach
Okay.
Q.
Coach Q.
You know, that's how they know me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love this. So teaching is where you land. Now, where and when do you then move into more of an entrepreneurial
Yeah, so
journey? Because there's a business we're going to talk about. So how
there
did that happen?
I think it was after COVID. It was around 2022 when I went on vacation with some family. One of our family members, their spouse was a real estate agent, and
Okay.
like it just looked fun. There was a lot of hustle, a lot of grit, but we're poolside, and she's like closing like a $400,000 deal, or
Right.
she's having like 4 or 5 consultations with
Mhm.
clients, and I was like, man, I could do that.
Okay.
So, it was not that long after that vacation, I thought about it for a long time, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that I can do it, and I could, increase our financial income doing
Right,
it.
right. Because it's not a matter of you not liking the teaching, it's just
Mhm.
the realities of teaching.
Exactly.
Got you. So you're like,
No, like if and full disclosure, like if school districts, if you want to pay your teachers $100,000 a
"Might
year,
have a lot of teeth."
yeah, you might have a lot of teachers, but you would probably bring me back.
Right. Okay.
Not anymore though. Um, but no, and I say that
Yeah.
because I'm also a vice president of the school board of our district.
Okay.
So
So you still are staying
yeah, I
engagement
couldn't I
of
couldn't stay away.
okay. So that really is one of your passions.
It is.
Got
It
you.
is.
Got
And we have a school board meeting on Monday now.
you. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so I stayed involved. 2022 was when I became an agent. Like I wanted it so bad that I got my license really quickly.
Yeah.
Um, backtrack a little bit. When I told my wife about it, there was a lot of tears because, and it's not just her, it's a lot of people. When you tell someone that you want to go from being an employee to an independent contractor and you don't always necessarily have a check coming in that month, that week, that day,
Absolutely.
it's hard to show people the path forward, but at
Absolutely.
the same time, as long as you budget your money correctly, like, you can make it.
Correct. But you're hitting on something because you're not alone in that. Like, I know when it's not about me, this is about you, but I can just relate. So I can't imagine other people that are able to relate. Um, we come from very similar backgrounds when it comes to familial things. And
Mhm,
I always have conversations with my mom, and we talk about the fact that, like, I celebrate my parents because they went from a place of survival in their childhood and their upbringing, and they really, really, really implanted and did everything in their power to give my sister and I a different childhood. You know what I mean?
mhm,
There was, of course, moments and growth and things of that nature, but one of the biggest things that they did was create stability in our childhood, and I can say that, like, they did create a sense of stability, and what they've done and the ability of having a retirement now and having retirement plans, like, that's so critical to them, and I love that they did that, but I always say and so now my, like, place in life is to take that a step further, and I don't wanna just be, like, stable, I'm looking to thrive.
mhm.
But when you explain what that looks like from an entrepreneurial standpoint and not having the security of a paycheck, not having necessarily benefits that come within a business, it feels scary and it feels uncertain. And so for anyone that's like even considering that, like you said, and we're going back to that, but that is beyond relatable. Like, you're not
Mhm.
alone in that thought process, and you're not alone in those, like, insecurities and in those uncertainties because they're accurate and they're very real.
Yep.
However, when you have a vision and you have a plan and you've budgeted, like you said, you keep going. So now back to you. So wife is crying, but you tell her what?
Ask,
Okay,
but
okay.
but request.
Say that again, Chris, because that's another
Ask.
area. You ask
Listen,
your partner. I
I
love this.
she truly is my partner, and not like, like love or anything like that, but, she is like, I very much look at us as a power couple because, she's a principal of an elementary school right
Love
now,
it.
and, I don't know what the future holds for her as far as going into, like, upper admin. She's kind of told me some ideas, but then, like, she's got some new ideas now, so we'll see what that brings. But we very much talk it out with each other because if
As you should.
we need to make sure that we're okay with the other one.
Absolutely, as you should.
So tears,
Yep, tears were had.
but I got the green light
Okay.
and I started that June
Mhm.
of 22 and walked into the brokerage, said, "Hey, I want to be an agent." They got me all hooked up and then, within 18 months later, I won rookie of the year.
Love this.
Yep.
Okay.
So I was like, "Man, I can do this."
Right.
But I don't know if I love doing this.
That's a word.
Yeah.
So you're like, "I have the ability to,
Mhm.
but I don't know if I love this."
Yep.
So, because that was gonna be one of my questions then. So what was the moment you realized that you had a different vision? Or,
So
like, when did the shift happen then? So now rookie of the year, you're in real estate,
mhm.
you're killing it.
So for me, it was like, what's sustainable? Like,
Mm,
what can I do in this space year in, year out, and feel like I have stable income, financial support, things like that.
okay.
And so, I was just looking around. What's the landscape right now? Well, um, I think it was fall, winter of 23.
Okay.
I was looking around and I was reading the news. It wasn't like super unofficial yet. It was like before it was unofficial, the NAR lawsuit settlement.
Yep.
And so it looked like it was going to come down the pipe. And I didn't know if I had the wherewithal because again, I'm not in love with what I'm
Right.
doing,
Right.
to go down that journey
Okay.
where they're changing everything and I'm having to figure out how to navigate the
Like,
landscape.
what that new landscape's gonna look like. Okay.
Yep. So went at the brokerage. Her name is Tammy. She has like this TC company. She was servicing agents at the brokerage. And, I just asked her, it was like like end of December or beginning of January. I was just like, hey, like, do you need like a TC?
Mhm.
And she had just told me that like two of her TCs were kind of phasing out.
Right. Real
And
quick.
go ahead.
TCs equals transaction coordinator. Just in case
Sorry.
for those that
Lingo,
not in the room, yeah,
lingo.
that real estate lingo. Go
Um,
ahead, keep going. All right, so
so I was like, I'm very attention to detail oriented,
yeah.
disciplined. Like I love tasks. I love checklists are huge for me. Love
Yeah.
them. And I was like, I would love to do it. And she was like, sure. Like, I'll train you. You come to my house. We'll show you the
I
ropes.
love this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so took it from there. She showed me her system,
Mhm.
and like, you know, it's not a knock against her. She just had very like older systems. She very much likes her spreadsheets and
Okay.
things like that.
So I'm hearing there were maybe two different generations.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. Of
And so
business. Got it.
well, not just not at the time, not of business, just like how to do
Well,
things.
how to do things.
I'm
I
very
mean,
much
that's true.
yeah, I'm very much I want to know how I can efficiently do things.
Right.
And my
Okay.
wife will tell you, like, if it's not efficient, like Chris will start to freak out.
Got it.
Cause like I even plan like trips, routes home. Like if I gotta go pick stuff up, I
You're
gotta make
looking for the
sure
most
that
efficient way.
exactly. I don't
Okay.
want to
So
go a million different places.
got it. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so she had everything, but like I felt like it needed to be streamlined.
Okay.
And so I went and I found this like this transaction coordination software, TC
Yep. Got it.
software, and I like tested it out. It gave me like a 30-day free trial, and I was like, this is what I need.
Okay.
And so it organized everything for a transaction within
Right.
one click.
Oh.
So I click and then it gives me the dashboard for that transaction. I put it away and it just becomes a list.
Okay.
So I'm not looking at 6 different things. I'm looking at one thing. Everything is housed in that
Okay.
software.
So you're like, I love this. So you bring it to her.
So I just started using it
Okay.
because I used her
Business take the
system.
risk. Love it.
Yeah, and it was like $54 a month.
Got it.
And so I used her method for like 8 transactions. I was like, I can't do this.
Okay.
So then I went to the software and I was like, oh, this is great. So and then I was churning them out. And then I started building up like my book of agents
Right.
and then just building. And then, one of the things that we had talked about in the very beginning is that she didn't want to do this forever.
Okay.
And that, this could be something that like, she helps me start and then I take over
Oh,
and
wow.
then,
Okay.
she retires, right?
Got it.
Um,
Okay. So that conversation was early on. So you basically found someone that was like going to mentor you and
mhm,
help build you up for this business opportunity.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Her initial plans were like 10 years.
Got it.
And then like over the course of time it shifted to like 5 and then it was like I don't know how much, I want to stay in.
Okay.
So, but that first year it was great. And then, she was excited of
Yeah.
like where we were going. And then we had a meeting with leadership at the
Yeah.
office. And, leadership kind of was like, this is kind of what I see going forward as far as like what will make brokerages like profitable and create retention, things like that.
Right. Right.
And so they kind of like mapped out a list, and I just used that list to build the
Build your
business,
business.
and then
Love this.
and then just showing up into the office because then I was listening to pain points of agents at small group and at team meetings and things like that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what they want. And so,
And you were creating around it. So I just want to pick up on like a nugget that you just dropped and highlight it. So if I'm understanding correctly, what I'm hearing you say is that what you started to do was just find problems that people were experiencing. You started with finding a problem for yourself. With yourself, you were like, love this. Yes, I could do it this way, but it's a pain point. I could be more efficient. And you solved your own problem, which did allow you to be more efficient, which allows the business to bring on more people because you're able to get through things quicker.
yep,
And then as you guys are together building this new business, new strategy. Again, you listened for more problems from leadership and you use that as your rubric on how to solve those problems to again continue to build the business.
Yep.
And this last go around, you're listening to literally industry doers, like actual agents in the field, just randomly talk and gripe about problems that they're experiencing. And you're collecting inventory and yet again finding opportunities to solve those problems.
Yep.
And that is what you've done in order to have growth in your business. Am I?
And then
That's a gem.
there's just one more piece, and that's AI.
Yes. Okay.
So, I had the blueprint.
Right.
Um, I'm a former teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran.
Right.
I've never owned a business in my entire life.
That was going to be one of my questions. Okay. So,
So I was like, how do I do this and how do I
exactly.
make it profitable?
Right.
And so,
Two questions I had for you. So, yes, how do you do this and how do you make it profitable?
well, I asked AI, and
No, that's
and
true.
AI, we went back and forth, and I just did an AI training on Tuesday,
Mhm.
and based off of my experience, one of the things that like I told people at the AI training is that please remember that AI is a result and an outcome, because if it was more than that right now, then we wouldn't need a lot of trades. I mean,
Right.
is it slowly replacing? Sure. Um, but right now, if it were what we've seen on in movies or
Right.
TV, like, it would replace people, right? And
Absolutely.
we're not there yet.
Right.
Will we get there? Who knows?
Right.
But it provided me a blueprint on what I needed to do,
Okay.
how to do it, how to execute it. It was like, you need to build relationships. You need to build relationships with leadership. You need to build relationships with people outside of your brokerage,
Right.
you know, business to business. This is what your profit margins look like. This is what your services should look
So you've
like.
really used it in every arena.
Every aspect.
Okay.
Every aspect. Right now, I'm building out the lead generation service for the brokerage.
Yes.
Um, Coming soon.
I know that's
Um,
right.
and right now, not only is it helping me build it out,
Mhm.
but it gave me the blueprint, it gave me the projections, and now I'm literally just following the instructions.
I love that.
And so very, very much the similar aspect of how it started. I took the ideas, took the pain points, got help from AI, and then I just followed the blueprint. Like, if someone gave you instructions on how to be, a thousandaire or
Right.
potentially millionaire,
Right.
multimillionaire, like, would you use it?
That there it is. Exactly. If someone literally gives you this.
But for people who don't have growth mentality,
Mm,
it can be very, very scary.
very true.
And I am a risk taker, and so I just jumped right in
Okay.
and didn't even look back at all.
So, in thinking that way, because you're hitting like a really, really good point in this, there, like I always say, like I am moderate risk taker. And we've had those conversations. Like for me, it's not a matter of like work ethic or the ability to do something. It's more like how much of a risk can I take or what will I be willing to endure because nothing is actually necessarily promised. However, there is a moment, and I really believe this, where like you recognize and realize, no, this is what I have is something.
Mhm.
And that ability to risk take grows because you start to be able to like recognize, no, I got something like I know that I have something here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that feeling that people get.
Mhm.
At what point did you have that? Like that moment of like, wait a minute, this business has true potential for like massive growth.
So, because of Tammy's background, her level of service, and then what she taught me to do, and my level of service, and the amount of agents that we were continually like picking up,
Okay.
and like, not just, we're not talking about like mid-tier agents, new to business agents, things like that. Like, we were continuously bringing in like top producers, cappers,
High volume.
like leadership
Okay.
agents, teams. And so I was like, okay, I think we have stickiness. now how do I get them to the rest
Okay.
of our services? So I figured out how to do that. I used the blueprint that leadership and the pain points gave me,
Mhm.
rolled that out, and had the blueprint for it. And then I we started with marketing, and then that's kind of when I was like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it. We're not doing it half-assed, like we're going straight
Right.
in.
Yep.
And so January of 2024, we rolled it out,
Yeah.
and we had a few agents, and it was working out. It was doing really well. One agent that we have as a client right now for marketing, like she's done thousands of a percent increase,
Oh, wow.
um and like her engagement, her views, things like that. And she's also gotten business from the
From
marketing.
the marketing. Okay, so again, what I'm hearing is you are a risk taker, but you're a strategic risk taker. Like you were literally like following the rubric that you already had, listening to individuals, solving the problems like we've talked about. And then when it came to taking that next risk, it was based off of I already know that this is a need
Mhm.
because I've listened. I've figured it out with my artificial intelligence and they've laid out the rubric on how I can do this. It's time to pull the lever and take that risk because I can tell that it's going to
Yeah,
produce. Like, is that so that
yeah, and you're gonna make mistakes.
well,
So
of course.
here's
This is
a lot
good.
a lot of people don't understand is that, like, unless you fail, you're not gonna learn. So
Ain't that the truth?
yeah, if you've never failed in your life, then I can't you can't claim to be an expert, because
Right.
how did you learn?
Uh, That
So
that
yeah, and the best way to learn is to teach. And in order for
absolutely
you to teach, you have to learn,
correct.
and you have to fail.
And you have to feel.
So like my first like rolling out of the marketing service, I hired this graphic designer. She was amazing.
Mhm.
Absolutely amazing. But like when we were trying to go back and forth on price, like she was so expensive.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
there was no way to make it sustainable for agents,
Okay.
because I was trying to make it for the masses, for new agents, for
Mhm.
mid-tier top producers. And, you know, the first payment that was due was like $3,800
Oh, Lord. Okay.
for a month.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, can't do that.
You're like, "This is not sustainable."
No, no, it's not. Because then it's more of a
Okay.
luxury item. And then I'm
Right.
I'm trying to leverage
Yeah.
all of the agents, not
Mhm.
just the top tiers. And
Absolutely.
so we found a better solution. Michelle was great. Like, it was good timing.
Yeah.
And she joined us, and she started, doing everything, and it just worked out really well. Um, and then I was like, all right, well, now that that is
Mhm.
up and going, it's got traction,
Okay.
stickiness. I was like, all right, time to do the next one. And the next one was database management.
I this is amazing. So I have to ask, were you always like, did you always have this entrepreneurial spirit or like was this just like the right moment at the right time? Because again, if we like listening to the timeline here, you went from like the the area, the industry of real estate has some things happening. Things are so I'm already just strategically because you said you're a planner, which you are. I'm trying to do something, and you kind of like get this opportunity with an already established business that has one model, and then you have found ways to like make it more efficient and build upon said model. And now you're really taking on the reins and like really like being extremely entrepreneurial with your approach and like you're building relationships and you're building new systems and you're building like new leverage solutions, which is amazing, but like it takes a certain level of like entrepreneurial like
Mhm.
just know-how kind of or at least having that spirit to go about it. So was that always there or was it just like it kind of found me like
I've always been a visionary.
okay.
I've always had ideas. I've never, even though I was a risk taker, like I never had the time to like really dive into them, or
Mm,
the financial capital to dive into them.
yeah,
Um, I've had plenty of ideas that I've come up with, and then like a month later it's on Shark Tank,
I know that feeling.
or I saw it on TikTok and I was like,
Mhm.
man. So this was something that I was like, I have the money to do so. I have the time to do so because it's my full-time
Exactly.
job now because I'm an
Yeah.
entrepreneur and I'm just going in.
Okay.
And if I don't do it when I think of it, someone else is going to do it and then they're
Right.
going to take away my idea. And it's not necessarily that it's not something that, is so proprietary that no one can do it. It's just that they don't have the time to do it.
Right. Okay. So if I'm understanding correctly, it was a little bit of both. You were like, you made decisions and, the timing of like what it is that you were doing was there. And now because you already had visions and ideas and everything else, so you already had the entrepreneurial spirit, you just were not permitted the time or have the financial capital to be able to pursue certain things because that is a truth. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
Yep.
They've got ideas, they've got the desire, but maybe not necessarily the ability to, whether it's a financial ability or just like a timing ability or anything of that nature. So
Yep.
you're saying, and again, I'm not putting words in your mouth, like I'm just kind of recapping it all. It was a little bit of both. It was the right thing came to you, the right moment happened. And in that moment, you were really able to then be gifted the ability to jump in because now this is your full time. And in that, now you've had this ability to just remove the cap and just
Go.
fly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I love that.
yeah, I mean, again, some of this was part of like the plan, and then
Yeah.
some of it, like especially now, like I've kind of not gone rogue from the plan, but like had to modify because in
Okay.
business you need to adjust to the market or you need to adjust to your clientele.
Right.
And if I want to be a sustainable business, I have to.
So now let's talk like, and guys, if you haven't started yet, like pen and paper, take notes because the guy's giving you gems on like a how to at this point start a business and get things going. Like, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
So, with that, like, what levers were you like pulling from, or like what, like, did you use metrics and or just vision to kind of scale, or were you like when you say like I had to kind of shift or I had to pivot, like what were you using to like really identify, like now I'm trying to give like an actual, like, is it data metrics that you're using or is it just like gut and like inertia to make decisions?
The bank account.
I know that's right. He's the data was the finances.
That's right. Like, so for example, like right now we're shutting down marketing because
Okay.
it's more of a luxury
Okay.
service and, um for what agents really want, it's very expensive
Okay.
and, it's not in everyone's budget. And again, my intention is to make this company available to all levels of
I
agents.
love this. Okay.
Um so the bank account will tell you. So like if I'm not making money off of a service or if I'm not making the margins or I'm not, able to cover the cost, like
Mhm.
I've got to move on,
Okay. Okay.
and the other thing is just like how fast are the clients coming in? So for
Uh-huh.
example, with transaction coordination, like it almost feels like at this point, it feels like every week we're looking at onboarding a new client.
Oh, wow. I love that.
With marketing, like nowhere near that.
Okay.
But database management,
Mhm.
like I've already had to hire a second database management coordinator because, our current coordinator is getting to the threshold.
Okay.
Um, and so I know
Got it.
that
Okay.
I hit a home run.
Okay.
And
So
then I've listened, and that's why the lead gen one is coming up.
got you. Okay, so what I'm hearing is yes, you're using the data metrics. The first one is the bank account because you're like, is this actually profitable? Is am I getting it? And then the other is like how many people are actually signing up for said service?
Yep.
Because if you don't have people that actually want the service, then what's the point of keeping that service? So, guys, this is what I'm saying about the taking notes. So, you have learned how to monitor whatever it is that you roll out, keep like tabs on what's going on, watch that bank account to see if am I bringing income in or is this something that is just going out,
Mhm.
and then you're willing to pivot. And what you've never stopped doing is listening to people's problems because that's what we talked about from the beginning, and you're continually finding something new based off of the problems, and then you make a solution, you roll it out, and based off of the metrics of like how many people sign up, for that service, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I hit a home run because people really want this and we're getting a lot of people signed up."
Yep.
Fair?
No, more than fair.
I love this. All right, so then normally I ask for like advice later on, but we're gonna start shifting into more of like the mindset to have a business. So for those that, and I hope you guys are taking notes and stuff, what advice would you give someone who feels stuck at one level and like can't break through? So like they do have a business or whatever, they're trying to do what you're doing, like because you are constantly, if I'm understanding you right, like you're constantly pivoting, checking in, checking posts, pivoting again and like moving things. What about that person like that feels like they're just stuck? Like what advice you give someone on how to pivot and move or like if
You,
they can't get through or they feel stuck, like what are like give like top 3 things.
the first thing is you got to change your mindset.
Ooh,
So,
talk about segue.
so mindset for me,
Yes.
this summer, we've talked about it, has been a summer of transition,
Amen.
and so because of that, I didn't feel I didn't feel stuck, but I felt s- like a victim mentality almost,
Mm.
right?
Uh-huh.
Which could feel stuck to some people.
Right.
So the first thing was shift your mindset.
Amen.
And if it's if you're finding it difficult to like literally sit down and change your mindset, I'll tell you exactly how I did it.
Mhm.
I pulled up the motivational videos on TikTok. I
Yes.
started listening to the beat in the background. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
Amen.
Um, and listening to these motivational speeches about not being the sheep, be the lion.
Mm.
What does the lone wolf do?
Right.
Things like that. And then I found this album on Apple Music. It's
Mhm.
like the greatest motivational speeches. I think there's like 15 of them. Um, and so I literally just started listening to it every single day. Instead of listening to music, I was listening to the speeches.
I
And
love
I
this.
probably have it like memorized at this point, but I just listened to it because I needed help shifting the
Mm.
mindset because like I didn't feel as though that like I was being alpha enough,
Okay.
being
Okay.
aggressive enough.
Right.
But aggressive doesn't necessarily have to be physical aggression.
Correct.
Like it can very much look like, taking charge of the situation.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's like that was the
Step
first
1.
that was step 1. Let's
Okay.
just change the mindset.
I love this.
Step 2, what's the plan?
Mm.
So, like, what are you going to do about your situation?
Right.
What are you going to do about, like, moving forward? You know, sales are plateauing. My product's not selling. My, you know, my income is not looking great. Like,
Right. Right.
what are you going to do about it?
Come up with a plan.
Come
Right.
up with a plan. If you need help, AI is there. We're in a, they used to say that like, before AI was so, mainstream and prevalent, they used to say that if you had a phone and the internet, like you could be a millionaire.
Right.
Now, if you have a phone, the internet, and AI, like you can be a billionaire.
I know that's right.
So you can't use it as an excuse.
Okay.
So I wasn't gonna use my life circumstances at the moment as an excuse. I was just gonna figure it out.
Figure it out.
And you're gonna have to make very hard decisions. Some of my decisions were relationship based,
Okay.
and I had to figure out how I was going to not only mend those relationships, but some of the relationships I was going to have to sever.
Mm.
And that can be very stressful. But
Absolutely.
again, what is it are you going to do about being stuck? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, thinking that you're going to get different
Come
results.
through, quote with Albert
I know,
Einstein.
listen,
You know that's
listen.
my favorite.
I
Well,
know.
it ain't my favorite. Y'all know my favorite is Gandhi. But
So,
okay.
so
I
that
love
was
this.
two.
Yes.
And then three is you got to do it. You can't sit there and have this shift in mindset and this plan without doing. It's going to be scary.
There it is.
You know, for me, it's like you know, jumping off of a ledge into the water.
Mm.
How deep is it? How far am I gonna go? What kind of
Right.
animals, fish are in there?
Yeah.
Like you don't know.
Right.
But how are you gonna come out? Or are you gonna,
Right.
you got to do it.
Absolutely. I stay for you at the top when it comes to those things. Not a big water person, but I Facts. I love this. Well, and that is to me, guys, if you didn't like, he gave you a 1, 2, 3. It starts with your mindset. Check yourself. Look at like what's going on. Start to feed yourself positive mindset shifts. Figure out like become what it is that you like. Make yourself believe and become the person you need to be to plan and execute what it is that you really want to do. Then create that plan and then do it. Like, guys, we can end it here, but we not because this is exactly it. And that's why I wanted to like segue into mindset because you and I were at lunch and it was a moment. I remember when we had gone out to lunch this one time, you said something to me that has stuck and I can't stop thinking about it. Like it's really put up not a pause, but it made me collect inventory of self as well, like we were talking about, and
Mhm.
like really start to like evaluate what that is. Cause you had said that like you were obsessed with the building of this business, with the continuation of what it was that you're doing, that you have literally become obsessed with what you're building here. Hence the 422% like growth from 1 year to the next year
Mhm.
in this business. And it dawned on me, like, and you've said it earlier about the when it was real estate, like I didn't love it enough to like prepare myself for the changes that might be coming. Like you've been mindful enough to know like what do I love, what don't I love? But where you are now, like this business, this entity, what you're building here, you're obsessed with it.
Yep.
And it in order to have extraordinary results, I think that that is necessary. And it made me think like, A, can you explain what that like what does that mean to you and how does that like look and like why is that in your opinion necessary to have the kind of growth that you've had? Cuz tend to agree with you, but like I just thought the idea in and of itself was like
Yeah.
mind
I mean,
blowing.
like it's not for the faint-hearted. I would be
Agree.
lying to you right now that this is for everyone.
Right.
It's
Right.
just like certain brokerages are for some people and they're
Right.
not for others. Certain jobs are meant for certain people. You know, having this type of mindset is very it's 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 not easy.
Right.
But I obsess. The
Mhm.
reason why I obsess is because I know what the outcome is. In
Mm.
order for to have extraordinary things happen to you, you got to do extraordinary things.
Right.
You got to be able to do what people will laugh at you for thinking. I remember telling a colleague one time that, oh, like, this is going to be a multi-million-dollar business.
Right.
Laughed,
Ooh.
and I was like, didn't respond in a way that would make them feel uncomfortable in the moment,
Right.
but I just like uh put that in my head. um like, this is how we're gonna move forward. Like,
Right.
all
Right.
right, I got you.
Absolutely.
Like, um this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Just watch.
Just watch. Okay, so to you, obsession is like, no, I see it. I'm beyond past just having an idea. I'm past just a vision. Like I am like, because you've told me like up all night, looking at stuff, doing things in the morning, waking up early. Like you're in a part of your life right now where like the vision is so clear. And that's what I feel like. Like I see in you now, like such a confidence and such a security of like, oh no, this is what it's going to be. Like you just know without a shadow of a doubt what you're building. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say. It also is fair to say that you need to, one, believe in yourself,
Amen.
and not listen to what the outside noise is.
Right.
And two, you have to believe in yourself. Like, you can't just be confident. You have to believe that you're going to do it.
I know that's
Like,
right.
you need to be able to see in your head that, one day, like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
You're going to do X.
Right.
You're going to be the best coach in this space in the world. I'm going to go have a TED talk. I'm
Mhm.
going to go do this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to be able to see yourself doing it. And then you just need to figure out how to get
The
there.
how to get there.
And if you need help, find someone that'll help you get
Right.
there. Because, for me, uh, it's not just about what I can do.
Right.
It's also how can my connections and networking get me there as well.
Right.
And then on top of that, like I've posted this a few times in the past month. My thing is like the biggest flex for me
Mhm.
is not how much money is in my bank account, it's how
Right.
many lives that I've impacted.
There it is. Because you can obsess when your vision is greater and bigger than just your little circle at that
Yeah.
point. I think that you hit the nail on the head on that one. That's what it is. It's bigger than you now. Because if your dream, I remember hearing someone, and I mean, I'm sure many people have said a version of this, so I don't even want to give like one person credit. Like, I know that it's like a multitude of it, but it's that idea of like, your dream should be like, should scare you. Like, you should dream big enough that it scares you, that it's like it's greater than just the you and yours around. And that is what I feel like you found. Like, you're at a point where like it's not just about a thriving business, it's about how you can impact. And impact to me is like that's where I'm at with it. Like, my goal is, and hence the reason for even just the platform, is the idea of like having an impact on people's lives, being able to sprinkle, even if it's just a little bit of inspiration in others. Like, the fact that I feel like I have been blessed enough to have the different career ventures that I've had, still find success in each one of them, be able to still get out of circumstances that I thought at one point in my life I would never get out of. Like, the fact that I am still here, and not only am I here, but I'm thriving and I'm growing and I'm, a learner of life, gives me the ability to give back. But what you're gonna build now is, like, a true impact that's gonna, like, outlive you,
That's the
and
goal.
that's where the obsession comes from. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, like right now, like you know, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress and anxiety,
Mm,
but the reason for that is because there's expectations of me.
mm.
And if people didn't expect anything of me, then I wouldn't have that pressure.
Right.
And you know what pressure makes? It makes diamonds.
Amen.
And I love diamonds.
Say it again.
I
Yep,
love
I
diamonds.
know that's right.
That's a shout out to my soon to be cousin-in-law.
Okay.
He loves that quote.
That he loves that. Oh,
You know,
the
pressure
pressure
makes
makes diamonds.
diamonds diamonds. You
Okay.
know, he loves
Okay.
diamonds.
There you go, primo. See? I love. Well, then, so let me ask though, like, how do you even, I was gonna ask, how do you, like, balance or find a healthy balance of obsession with, like, burnout, or do you even have that? Like, because I most people would probably say that there has to be balance to a certain degree. In fact, my significant other and I, we have that argument on a regular basis on, like, the ones that truly make it, like, I don't know if there's necessarily a balance. Like, there may be times where, like, things are unbalanced and you do put a lot over here because of the greater good, or you do. So, for those that tend to lean towards, well, where's the balance, Chris? Or like, do you have it? Does that exist? And B, what does that look like for someone who has the obsession that you have because you know that what you're building is so much greater?
I'm just gonna say it like there for me there's not a balance, and
Okay.
I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not saying that's how most people do things
Right.
right now. Because I've talked it out with my wife, like
Mhm.
she has an understanding that the sacrifices now provide the pleasures of later.
Mm,
So she knows what the goal is. She knows what my financial projections are.
okay.
She knows what the company's projections are. She knows what I want to do. And so she knows that the next 2.5 years are going to be a sacrifice.
Okay.
But it's to get everyone to a place where we can just go to a place and swipe the card. And I don't even know how much money it costs, but it's
You
what
knew
I,
we were good. Right.
yeah.
I love it. So, if and again, because I'm real big on recapping as we keep going so that people don't miss it. Because he's hitting y'all with a lot of beautiful, like, nuggets to take on with you if and when you choose to do whatever it is that you're gonna do in your life. For you right now, you don't have balance, but you have, because you've done this in every different arena of your life, had the conversation with your partner.
Mhm.
You guys both have agreed that the plan and that the vision is greater than balance.
Mhm.
And you do have the support so that you don't need to necessarily have that, because you're in a position right now where it's like, it doesn't matter. Do what you have to do.
Mhm.
And let's keep it going, because we both agree that what's to come is more important than
Exactly.
necessarily balance.
Yep.
So So what do you say to people who think that that's being too obsessed, or like being too obsessed is actually a weakness? Because, there are people who have who would fight the contrary, that will try and tell you that like in order to be successful, like you have to have all areas of your life kind of figured out. That, that idea of like having, the time for self and self-care to ensure that, like, you're not putting yourself in a position for burnout. Like, there's a lot of people that say that that's actually counterproductive. So, like,
Mhm.
what do you say for those, like, naysayers? Because I tend to lean towards what you're saying, but, we gotta look at both sides here. So how would you respond?
My response would be is that, you know, being in the military prepared me for sacrifices like this.
Amen.
There are things that I've already sacrificed enough in my life, and uh, time is something that I can more than sacrifice at this point
Mhm.
because I know what the longevity is. My
Right.
health, is that balance right now? No. And um is it a priority for me? Yes. But
Okay.
like I know the short term is that without the sacrifices that I'm making right now, like, I'm not gonna be able to take care of my health anyways.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
okay. Right.
So
So you feel like where you are now, you're like, I do know, and it sounds like you're self-aware.
mhm.
And where you are now, you're like, I could do better here. I know that this and that is, but you have made your decision and your mindset is,
At all costs.
I, amen. You're like, that's where you're at. Now, again, I personally think that not only is an obsession that you have, but I think that you really have found like your niche. Like, I really think that this is where you thrive. Like, you have natural skill sets that like just mend well with the business model that you've created. So I tend to think that like that's more of a passion of yours. So like where does passion and obsession, is it like passion and obsession? Sorry guys, that felt like a tongue twister. Like, is it, where do they meet? Like cuz I feel like, where does passion play in all of this? 'Cause I feel like you have found, like, your true passion, which is why it's so easy for you to be obsessed, because not only do you see the trajectory of the business, but, like, I think that you found your thing. Like,
Yeah.
this is, like,
I
it's
got you.
perfect for you.
Yeah, like so my passion has always been service.
There it is.
I don't I don't think I can find a time where I didn't serve others.
Mm,
Even when I was selfish, there were
yeah.
things I was doing to serve others.
Okay.
I served my country, I serve, communities and students, and in the real estate world, I think that's where
And you served clients.
I serve clients, but like that wasn't a love for me. And
Right.
I think where I found the passion and the love and the obsession is being able to change. It's, agents love being able to take care of their clients.
Right.
And I wasn't in love with that. It's
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
necessarily that I didn't care about them or things like that, but I care about the agents that I work with because
Mhm.
I don't view them as colleagues. I view them as friends and family.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's like if they do well, I do well, and if I do well, then we all do well.
Right, right.
So, like that's the passion for me is service.
Okay.
And then the obsession is how do I bring us all to the finish line?
Mm. Okay. Okay, so, because again, this arena, now I'm talking about like the mindset that you have to have in that. So you're like, your passion is service. Like, at the end of the day, you're looking to service individuals, but you have found that you love to help those that you work closely with, that you love to see individuals that you view as friends and family continue to build, and you have found a way to service and be of service to them. And that's where the obsession now comes in, because now you're obsessed with how can I can continue to build on that
Yep.
and grow that, because I've always wanted to, and I have a passion to serve, and now I found the community that I want to serve in a way that feels good for me.
Yep.
Is that okay? That's amazing. So, and that just again leans itself to the fact that from even the beginning, like, I love how when things just kind of flow perfectly together. If you have a love of something, if you find what that is, if you get your mindset changed out of the victim mentality, and then create a plan and then execute it. And then you continue to like stay on it. Like you will find success. Like you said, you just have to find what your thing is.
Yep.
So now I have to ask though, do you believe that like obsession can be taught? Or is it something that like comes naturally when you find the right thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it,
Yeah, I think obsession is something that needs to be intrinsic. It
mm,
cannot be from the outside. It has to come from within.
it's a within thing.
So because it comes with it from within,
I
it
love
needs
this.
to be passionate.
Yes.
Like you need to I don't think it can be taught. Like there, Lori Grenier on Shark Tank one time said that, I can teach you how to work. I can teach you like how to work in my system. Like I can teach you a job,
Right.
but I can't teach you how to be a nice person.
Mm, yeah.
There are things that I just feel like you can't teach, and I feel like obsession is one of them.
Right, right. Because it's either you have it or you don't.
Yep.
Like, you have to find, I think, the thing that you obsess for, which is what we found. So you do have to find your thing, but not everyone necessarily intrinsically has that passion and that, like, fire to get something to the best that it can
Yep.
that creates the obsession mindset that you have to just, "I now have a vision, it's what I want, and I'm just going full force."
Yep.
So that's what, and that's why I felt that it was important to have a conversation around that. Because I have been obsessed at the fact that like that conversation about the idea of like, well, you need to find what you're obsessed with. Like it's been in my head. And I think it's important for people to really consider like go deep, go within. Think about, are you obsessed with whatever it is that you're doing? Because if you're not, then maybe the reason why you're not having the success that you need is because it's not the right thing.
Hmm.
And that's okay to pivot. And rather than feel stuck, like you were saying, like either change your mindset, right? And figure out what it is, create the plan and execute it. But then also, are you in the right seat or are you in the right whatever it is? And it's okay to change. Pivot is important. So I love how you're explaining these things because I think you're right. There's some things that can be taught, but then there are other things that are just internal, and some people have them and others don't. And that's not to say one's worse than the other. It's just what it is.
Yep.
So now let's go ahead and talk about, because you are, look, we could keep going, but I'm like, all right, so what's next? So after hitting an over 400% like increase from one year to the other, growth in your business, like what's next for you?
So right now, the path is to dominate the region.
Amen. And you
So
will.
next year, I'm looking to not just grow within the state of Pennsylvania, but to go into New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland.
Okay.
Um, we're KW exclusive, so like
Yeah,
the ecosystem is there, the processes and systems are there.
absolutely.
So I don't have to necessarily grow a lot of that stuff. It's already there. That's why we're really good at what we do because it's just repetitive.
Right.
We just once the service has been fine tuned, then I figure out how do I make the client and customer or agent experience better.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then, so growing into the region, once, we kind of dominate the region, we'll go to the coast,
Okay.
take down the East
I
Coast,
love this for you.
move out
Like
into the Midwest.
KW is international, my God.
Exactly. And
KW's Keller Williams, guys.
yeah. And so, I mean, the goal for me, like the finish line for me is to either be a Keller Williams national
Mhm.
partner or to sell it to Keller Williams and, it's theirs. But,
Okay.
and then one of my goals is that when I do sell, I pull a Mark Cuban and, as long as they meet eligibility requirements, and depending on how much that check is
Yeah.
from Keller Williams, I want to make them millionaires.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
You really are gonna do this. So you have, all right, so you've got a future, like you have a lot, but you also have plans on like first region, then coast, then. So I love this. So you're like, I've got the long, long term, but I also have like these steps in between.
Hmm.
So now I have to ask, like, because again, we're talking about business, we're talking about growth, we're talking more than anything, the mindset needed for growth in business.
Hmm.
So I guess the next question for me, because I have a few here, but I'm like, I feel like the next question just to kind of is like, how do you keep yourself like staying obsessed when goals get bigger and the stakes get higher? Like, because from the business standpoint, like, how are you able to continue to do that? Because now it's not just a matter of like the building of the business that you created. Like, when stakes get bigger and the goals are bigger, like, how do you still find ways to stay obsessed in that?
So, um,
You like these questions?
shout out to Michael Jordan.
Amen.
If you have not watched The Last Dance on Netflix, I highly recommend that you do because while it's not necessarily about business, there's a lot of mentality
Hmm.
shifts that he has or the way that he thinks about things. And one of them is that like he would find motivation to challenge himself.
Mm.
And that's how he pushed himself to be the best, the GOAT. It's not LeBron. Um
We're not here to discuss any of those conversations,
so
but I understand.
but that's that's how he
Yeah,
pushed himself.
100%.
And so one of the things that he said in
Yeah.
that is that if he couldn't find anything, if there was absolutely nothing that he could find, he would make it up.
Mm.
And so I haven't had the chance to do so yet, but I do find like myself in that space where like if I get to a point where I feel that I'm content, like I got to figure out a way to make it up.
I love that. So you're like, I'm never like, contentment is not something that you're willing to be a part of.
No.
You will, if you, right now, you're more than hands full. You've got a lot trajectory as, but if you ever find yourself in a state of contentment, then you're going to create or make up, like Michael Jordan said, something to challenge yourself in,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Because being comfortable is the opposite of growth.
Oof.
And shout out to, Brittany, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely. That is a big must in not just our industry, just in life.
Yeah.
Like, you have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to really have growth.
Yep.
But that goes back to the idea of the growth mindset. Like, not just the idea that we're talking about when it comes to the obsession, but like having an ability to think growth mindedly, to know that you have to be uncomfortable, to be willing to push through things. Like, again, it goes back to, what are you feeding yourself? What are you saying to yourself? And what are you like giving yourself from a mental standpoint, right? To ensure that you've got the right thoughts, the right way of looking at things, the right mindset, so that you then can be the kind of person that challenges yourself and does different things. So now this has been an amazing, amazing conversation, Kris. Like, we can talk forever. But I do love to, although again, you've left nuggets throughout. But I like to, before I give my key takeaways, and I'm sitting here thinking about them because I got a lot and I put them on the spot. So I'm like, I'm trying to think about what I want to say. But I always like to give advice. So what advice would you give the earlier version of yourself before you hit this kind of growth? Like, what advice would you give younger you?
Probably say don't fall victim of what people have for
Mm.
you as an image.
Ooh, that's a word.
Because people portray an image of who you are and you start to feel that way about yourself, but
Mhm.
that's not who you truly are.
Mm, and sometimes that's projection of themselves as well. So that's a word we could
There's a lot.
that's a lot. I was gonna say we could literally start to, like, peel that one back, but that's amazing. So do not fall victim to what people are portraying you as, or the person that they're trying to portray you as. Don't
Yep.
be that victim.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, so now my next question. If someone listening wants to achieve explosive growth, right? Where should they start?
They need to find what they're passionate about.
Okay.
Um, you're not gonna grow something that you don't love. You know, people who are excellent at gardening or maintaining flowers, they love that stuff. I
Mhm.
have no green thumb whatsoever. I would much rather like I put astroturf and call it a day.
Amen.
Um, but you need to find what you're passionate about, and then from there, research, figure out where the pain points are for people, and then, create stickiness, doing that. I have created a system and a process which allows me to grow because I have a service and a company that allows me um to scale them.
Mm. Okay. And then before I ask my last one, which is more about where can people find you, I'm going to do my best. Pray for me, guys. To come up with my key takeaways from today's conversation. And Lord, are there a lot? Like you have given a rubric on like how to really not just scale, but start and how to like really like consider mindset. So let me see if I can get my minds and thoughts together because I do pride myself in being in the moment. But okay, guys. So for today's key takeaways, there are so many that Kris has given you guys, but we're gonna start at the very beginning. And the first key takeaway that I actually feel is really important, and it sounds like was a part of change in his life, um, was I'm trying to think how I want to say this. So there was a point in his life where a decision had to be made, right? He could go back home where there's a sense of comfort, or he could choose to bet on himself and go in a different path because he felt that that was what was important for him. Um, I know for myself, and I'm sure for many people listening and watching, like we all have those moments in life, right? It's really easy when you leave something, whether it's for him, it was like at the end of his service with the Coast Guard after getting hurt, like whether it's a moment that changes for you, whether it's ending school, whether it's the loss of an employment, like there's a moment where it's real easy to just take the comfortable route and go to whoever those supports are, or go to um whatever that comfort is, that's easy, right? Sometimes the road less traveled is going to be what allows you to uncover the greatest aspects of you, as well as the greatest opportunities that you didn't even know you could uncover. So that's the first one. Like, rather than take the comfortable route, sometimes take the road less traveled. That's my first takeaway. My second key takeaway was find what you love and then become obsessed with it. He has said multiple times that, he's been in different career ventures. Kris has, looked at, been a part of different opportunities, whether it was the Coast Guard, so his passion was service, right? But he found when he was in that arena and he was serving people within real estate, but he didn't love it, that he could not have the same type of success that he could have had. Like he was still being successful. So sometimes don't confuse being successful with, okay, then that means I love it. He recognized there was no love for it. So he found a way to serve someone else, right? A different population in a way that he could love to do it, and then became obsessed with it. So find what you love and then obsess over that. My third key takeaway, and he talked about this, in order to have exponential growth in any industry, in any business, what you need to look to do is to find problems that exist and be the person to provide the solution for said problem. That will unlock unlimitless opportunity and potential, because that is, in my mind, the secret sauce of your business. You just continue to stay in tuned and continue to find issues and problems that people in the industry are having. And you continue to find the ways to solve said problems and then leverage that. So that to me is amazing. And then my last key takeaway, my fourth key takeaway, is going to be a three-part because he gave you guys three things. If you find yourself stuck, or you feel like you have plateaued, or you're in a space of uncertainty, first, take inventory of self, change your mindset, feed yourself positive affirmations, business podcasts, motivational podcasts. Find ways to feed yourself with positivity that you need so you can change and reframe those negative thoughts and the mindset that you have. Then create a plan and do it. Execute said plan. That is all I have heard this entire conversation. But like, so those are my 4 key takeaways for today. And it's not just about the ability to have whether it's a 422% increase, business increase from one year to the next like he's had, or it's, taking on something new. I really believe that today's conversation more than anything is about passion, finding an obsession that you have, being in love with what you do, being intentional with that, which is exactly what this entire platform is, and then living the life that you hope to live for self after sacrificing what's necessary in this time.
Mhm.
Does that feel like a pretty good wrap
I
up?
feel it feels solid.
Doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this, and these are just from like off the cuff. Like, this is, Kris, there's so much. Guys, if you know someone that needs to be motivated, that needs a mindset shift, this is the episode for them. Like, I knew just based off of what you've accomplished that it was going to be good. But, Kris, you have dropped gems. Like, I can't say enough how much I appreciate this conversation.
Oh, I do too.
So, my last question, of course, is where can people connect with you? Drop your socials and everything. It'll be in the description. So,
Yeah, find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's Precision Leverage Solutions. Um, I don't know the ads right now.
okay, no worries. That's fine. It's good. Website. I'll put all the
Yeah.
things. Don't you worry. All the things will be in the description for you guys. If you are a Keller Williams specific agent, and you're in the central Pennsylvania area for right now, right? I feel.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Pennsylvania, you're a Keller Williams agent and you're looking to grow your
There
business,
we
I
go.
I have plenty of ways to, scale and grow it. If you're not a Keller Williams agent, we are always taking new agents daily.
Yes. Well, that was the plug that I gave for him. Like, come on, guys. Like, so if you are in the real estate industry and you're Keller Williams agent, he has amazing, I personally use him. Hence, Kaylin's name dropped from the beginning. Kaylin is a gem. Sorry, guys, you guys can't have her particular, but his whole team is phenomenal. So if you're in the area, if you're a real estate professional, if you're not a Keller Williams agent, but you believe that these leverage solutions are something, like, get connected with your local Keller Williams office. Not looking to do anything outside of that. This isn't my role. This is totally his, but I'm just saying what he does is amazing. Um, I think that what you've created is amazing. I think that the way that you look at business and the things that you're doing and your heart of service is just, it's what people need to see. And it's why you've had the success that you've had, in my opinion.
I
So,
I agree.
giving you your flowers in real time, like your heart, your dedication, and your willingness to continue to listen and grow. And also stay true to who you are, because we've had those conversations and like we know who like it's beautiful to see when you see that people that deserve to win. So keep growing, keep doing, like, sky's the limit for you, my guy. Like,
Thank you.
I'm so excited for what's to come. So again, guys, if you know someone that needs some motivation, needs some growth, this is the episode for them. Like, comment, share, all the things. That's not my big forte, but of course, continue to grow this podcast. Let's continue to grow this community, so that we can continue to have inspiring conversations that empower people to get set. So as always, sending light, sending love. Bye.